Hello ladies and gentlemen, within the following video, Arleigh will provide an overview of the thoughts and themes he's used regarding his advice and counsel. Included are a few highlights from his book, Managers Unchained. He has been a management consultant for more than 20 years.
What are the biggest questions you have about your own organization? What are the things that are on your mind the most? So they may be expecting that because I'm a management consultant, I'm going to do all the talking, but I'm not. I want to hear what the client has to say. And when the person talks, if they do start talking, which that makes me very happy, I do good listening. And that's been the secret of my business and the people who work with me. We spend time listening carefully to what the clients have to say. And they are to cover what basically is a broad set of issues. And the broad set of issues have to do with how are things going with the people they work with? How are things going with the people that are serving them? Whether it's a computer repairman or it's something else. So the fact of the matter is, I'm very interested in what it is they're saying and what it is they're doing with their contractors. And then finally, how are things going in the physical setting that they have? And so, if the physical setting is good, we're off to a pretty good start. The biggest issue of all is understanding the value of planning. If for any reason we don't get all the subjects, then we can't write a plan. So our general recommendation has been, well, let's make certain that we've noted out the biggest issues that you have, and let's start thinking about what a plan would look like. And of course, the plan, it's a very interesting conversation. If you go to a lot of people that are in business and you say to them, where's your plan? They can't answer the question. Because number one, they either didn't write one, or number two, they wrote one and can't find it. Or number three, they wrote a real good one, but they haven't looked at it in years. And a lot of things have changed over the years. So no matter what that plan was, it was supposed to be examined annually. And when you examine a plan annually, especially if the people that wrote it and they're in the room with you, you get to take a look to find out whether they're on track or not. So the biggest issue is, let's start thinking along the terms of what's in the future. And let's take a look at what's changed in the recent past, and let's make certain we have all the tools so we can deal with the right subjects and we can get the right people on board to solve some of our problems. So what happens is, I'm dealing with executives or I'm dealing with managers or mid-managers, and I say to them, the biggest issue you have is communicating. And everybody says, well, that's easy. I do a lot of talking. I'm on the phone. I have a cell phone. I'm a good communicator. I said, well, let me ask you a few questions about that. When you get done with the communication, do you believe that the person that you were talking to heard everything? Because some people are hard of hearing. And not only that, if it was complicated, they didn't make any notes. And if none of the above, then you have to say, well, was this clear enough so you could communicate what we were talking about to your employees or to contractors or whoever it is that may be helpful in getting things done around here? So, if you don't mind me saying so, a lot of communications that I watched and I listened to were awful. These are people listening to communications in a car on their cell phone. And the traffic is making a lot of noise, and they're watching out for somebody that's cutting in front of them, and that means we're having a communication? I don't believe it. I think a lot of times they only heard half of whatever. Second of all, they're in the office, and it's a bunch of noise going on, but they're so used to it, they don't recognize it. But when I'm sitting there, I do recognize it. And that's what we have to talk about. Here's the front page of my book. And so you know where I got this name from. Some of these managers that I work with were really chained because nobody was really helping them to get better on the job. They just gave them a job description, here, go do these things. Instead of saying, what tools do you need and how can we help you along? So this book was written in such a way that I interviewed all these different managers from charities, Fortune 500 companies, mom and pops. That's what I did. So that's what's in this book, a bunch of little small hints about little tiny problems. And where did I get all these from? From interviews with managers all over the United States. They told me what the issues were that they faced, and I put them in the book. The basic question comes up: what did these managers have to say, and what did they want to do about it? I'll give you a good example. This is the age when women are being moved into management. So what ends up happening is the head people think, well, what they're going to learn about that management job is from the person that had the job before them. That's a terrible idea in some cases. What needs to happen is that particular person needs training relevant to what the group wants to do and how they want to do it. And hopefully they got the right leadership. The very fact of the matter is a lot of work has to be done to make all the people feel comfortable working with each other. And they all have something to offer each other. So it's a leadership responsibility, and that's in the book. If you read this book, you don't learn how to be a leader. You learn what it is the leaders had trouble with and what it is they had to do to change their ways in order to solve these problems.